Trade 6. This is where everything starts to go wrong. Made some pretty classic mistakes. Again, I don't believe I would have made these mistakes if I had not really allowed myself to play this as a demo account and not real money. I also know that I'm getting some real 50K accounts, and I would never trade like this in those. I would never trade like this with my real money. In fact, the way I've been trading has been in the mindset of real money. For some reason today, and I'm still digging deep to understand why, I decided to break a few rules. One of the rules I broke was adding too big too soon. I'm going to start showing you where trade 6 comes into play right here.
Technology.
We're up a couple $100 and I'm scalping as normal, 1 micro at a time. This is how I trade. I'll add 2, sometimes 3, scalp out, and I won't go usually larger than 5. Well, I had started this trade with 2. There's nothing wrong with that. I scalped out of 1 here, and when it came back down, I decided to add 4 and go 5. At this point, I should have scalped out of, say, 3 or 4 of them when it popped up. I only sold 1, held 4, and when it came back down, I added again. This is the wrong place to add when I'm at 5. In fact, when I added 5 right here, and if it were to continue down, I would have really had to figure out how I was going to play this. I would have probably tried it the same exact way I did, which is everything that I did, including more mistakes. So what's the number one problem? Number one problem is I shouldn't have been long 5 right here, and I should have sold more when it popped up here. And if I were going to add, I should have let it come down here, and this should have been my target to add, not here, right? Not here. And so I added too big, didn't sell enough when it popped up, added back too early. That's the beginning of my mistakes on this particular trade. The mistakes continue. Somewhere down here at this pivot, I know I need to do some kind of adjusting, scaling, scalping. Pretty typical at a pivot level like this. This was the low of the day. Price comes down to the low of the day and I add. And then it sweeps and bounces up. When it sweeps and bounces up, I should have tried to break even on that add right there somehow. Because I didn't get in the right spot, I should have waited for a liquidity sweep, number 1. So I added too soon. I didn't wait for the liquidity sweep where I should have added. I missed this bounce up for a nice scalp out of that add, and the whole thing was not timed and not synced properly. So not only did I add too soon, miss the liquidity sweep bounce, and the break even, when price continued to roll down even lower, I should have reduced my size right here. See, I should have exited trade or reduced my size right here, thinking, okay, this is not done going down. I'm too heavy, especially with 10 contracts. Could have easily reduced it to 5 if I had to hold 5. And then when I'm down here, instead of adding 10, being long 20, I could have been long 10 and only added 5. So again, this area compounds the problem. Problem starts up here by getting too big and not adjusting properly, not selling the majority of it when it pops, adding back lower, starting off too big to begin with. And then I get down here, I add too early, miss the liquidity sweep add, therefore the bounce sell, and then I don't break even on some as it comes back down and continues down. I hold the add, I hold the extra. Do not hold the extra. Break even or take a small loss on that. You don't know how low it's going to go. All right. Then, because I'm holding 10, I add 10 more instead of just 5, and I double up and I hold this whole thing here, and then I miss. This is a major problem. Usually I'm good at this. When it pops up, I sell. Usually I sell. I missed this scalp up here because my mind was my mind was distracted by the idea that I'm under break even. My break even price is this yellow line for everything. If this would have went up to break even, I could have sold and not had a single loss or a single penny drawdown. It would have been perfectly balanced for break even that day because I hadn't sold anything yet. This trade started right over here in this yellow circle, and all of this trade, all these sells were profitable. The sell up here was profitable. The sell right here was profitable. So every time I'm selling, it's a profit. Nothing's drawn down yet. And so when I start adding here, 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 and here, all the way up to here, I missed this. I didn't want to sell here because I was under the break-even price, and I didn't want to take any drawdown on the net loss, which would have lowered my $2,500 threshold, which wasn't very much. Okay, and so that was a miscalculation. Go ahead and sell it. When it comes back down, add. When it comes back up, sell it again. This is my status quo. This is how I run. This is how I operate. This my normal trading style and system relies heavily on my ability to scalp when I'm supposed to scalp. And because I didn't scalp here, I wasn't able to add down here. And by the time it got down here, it hit the $2,500 maximum drawdown. So I would have blown the account. I would have blown the 50K Apex account if I had it today. All right. And it didn't get much lower than that. This is the low. So it would have locked me out. It would have closed out my positions. I would have blown the account. It went down to like $2,600 or $2,700 right here. And you're only allowed $2,500 drawdown on a 50K account. But if I had scalped here, added down here, and scalped here, this would have never, if I would have sold my position up here like I was supposed to, this would have never hit my maximum drawdown. Let me say that again in this video so I understand the importance of taking small net losses to avoid blowing up the account. If I had sold 10 here, because I was long 20 right here, if I had sold 10 here, when it got to this point, I would not have been blowing up the $2,500 threshold. I would have been able to scalp again here, and probably would have took it here. And I would have been able to sell some here. I would have lowered my average price, and I would have been a lot better off. This was a huge mistake. This was a huge mistake. So what I ended up doing is I had 20 here, blew the account here. Next time it went up to this level, I did sell. I sold 5, right? And then I bought 5 back, sold 5 again, and I started my scalping process. This whole time was nothing but me trying to scalp my way out of debt. And I could have ended up being down 2,000. Absolutely. It could have kept dropping right here when it blew up. It could have kept dropping right here. I could have been down, 4,000 or 5,000. Let's keep that in mind. In reality, I wouldn't have traded like this with real money. That's the thing also. That's the thing. I wouldn't have traded like this with real money. I know I wouldn't have. I would not have. So why did I do it in this demo account? I needed to be reminded. I know I needed to be reminded. I needed to be reminded how easy it is to slip up and really make mistakes on this thing. It's incredibly important that we remember how easy it is from just a couple of little mistakes, adding too much and not scaling properly, not adding in sync and not scalping properly, and then holding the trade when it goes wrong, and then adding and holding, not scalping when I'm supposed to scalp, missing opportunities. And this is all because I think it all started with just the idea that I can handle anything. I can get bigger now. And this is the kind of day that'll teach you your limitations and your insecurities and reality. Because the reality is I still have flaws in my decision making on when to scalp, when to add, and how big to be. So I can avoid all that by just setting a rule that I don't really like to go more than 5. Let 5 be my maximum. And when it goes against me like this, I got to get out of some immediately. Here's what I would do in the future. If I want to go 5 and I'm starting to scalp out of 5, right here at this particular time, right here, I could have easily changed this to be a positive day, right? I could have, instead of selling 1, I could have sold 4, right? Bought back 1 here and been long 2 instead of 5. Added 1 down here and been long 3. If it goes against me, I can sell 1 or sell 2 and be long 1, right? Instead of 10. Be long 1 instead of 10. This whole thing could have been managed so much better. So much better. If I want to go long 5 here, I need to sell the majority of it when it pops up. Let's get this down in my mind. I want to laminate this into my mind for next time.